Welcome to the April 2017 edition of Roll to Hit Gaming Monthly, where we'll take a look back at last month in gaming.
We're also going to have a discussion topic about the fear of missing out that next big thing. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
And of course, we have our monthly coverage of the Shelf of Shame progress. So for Roll to Hit Gaming, I'm Chip.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Lucas. Let's take a look back.
So to start us off, we're going to cover some of the programs that we did in April, starting off with Hum Nikoji, the playthrough for that, and Mintworks. We did a playthrough for that as well.
We also posted a review of Hanami Koji and Mintworks, as well as unboxed the newly arrived Anachrony Kickstarter version with the nice little mechy bits. So look for those. Really cool games that we put up videos for this month. And now we'll talk about our games of the month. And Chip, you want to start us off?
My game of the month, we've had this one. This one comes from the Shelf of Shame, but I've had it for quite a long time and was itching to get it to the table. It is Liberty or Death, the American Insurrection. By GMT, Harold Buchanan created it. It's one of their counterinsurgency games, and so it's kind of in the war games realm. The book, the rule book on it is really intimidating. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it went so long without me playing it, is because frankly I tried reading through the rule book and it just wasn't, I just wasn't picking it up. So I made a plea. Luckily we're in the Dallas, Texas Metroplex, and so there is a nexus of board gaming known as Madness Comic and Games. Mm-hmm. And they have huge game days every Saturday. And I reached out to one of their Facebook groups and one of their players who, they have a huge wargaming group of guys that go up there and play. And so I just kind of put a general request out saying, hey, can anybody teach me this game? And one of the guys was gracious enough to say, yeah, sure, come on up. We'll schedule some time and I'll show you how to play it. And he even went and got two other players to play it with us. So we kind of had the full contingent to play with. And it was a neat game. It's very, very complex, but once you start playing it, it kind of falls into place. You kind of understand how the flow goes. Now the interesting thing is every faction sort of works different. So if you are the Native Americans, your victory condition is different than your allies, the British, right? So the British are trying to do one thing to win, you're trying to do one thing to win, but together you have to win together. And then, on the American side, the Americans and the French, they both have different victory conditions as well, but you have to kind of coordinate to work together. And unlike, I guess, traditional war games where my army is against your army, mm-hmm. This introduces, being a counterinsurgency game, it introduces support inside the cities. And so not only are you moving armies around, if you're the British commander, you have large British armies, and if you're the American commanders, you have the Patriot militias and the Patriot armies. The French do a lot of naval, but they also support the armies. And then the Indians kind of run around and do these war parties that can really do a lot of effect to the loyalty and the support inside the cities. If you're a American player and you ignore the Indians long enough, the Native Americans long enough, they'll really drop the support you have in the cities, because the people start feeling like, oh, you're not protecting us from right. from the Native Americans. So it's really neat to see how it plays, and so I was glad to be able to have that experience. And I know you're interested in it, Lucas, so we'll bring it to the table and we'll see. And then Joe, she's you're a 1775 girl, so I think you could get involved with it.
Only if I get to play the Native Americans.
You're more than welcome to. That's who I played that day, and it was really interesting. So I think you'll like it.
Cool. Yeah, thematically, it's really interesting to me, and I like the tie-in of the spy network. Mm-hmm. That in recent years that's become a hot topic. Washington's spy network. And one of these channels put on a great show about it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting an opportunity to play that one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my game of the month is Yido. It's also another game that we had on our shelf of shame until this month, published by IDW. But basically, think Lords of Waterdeep, but set in Japan, 1605. Basically, it's a strategy game for 2 to 5 players, and you act as a clan leader, and you're trying to build your clan up because the new shogun's in town, trying to gain his favor with prestige points in the city of Edo. In it, you're completing missions by accumulating assets like geisha girls and such. And we played it, the first time we played it with 2 players. And it was fun, but you really didn't get the whole auction dynamic with just 2 players because, he took one thing, well, okay, take it, I'll take this. There wasn't that competition to overbid somebody else. I think it's probably going to be played best at 4. That'll tighten up the board quite a bit. But in my personal opinion, I actually enjoyed this one more than Lords of Waterdeep.
Okay.
Which is just crazy.
It's not crazy.
It's a neat game. It's not better than Lords of Waterdeep.
Yes,
It's kind of mean, Lords of Waterdeep, but it has a lot of the same feelings. She's right. The auction doesn't work at 2. It rarely does in any game. And there's also a trading phase that didn't make a ton of sense when you were one-on-one, right? So why would I give you anything? But the theme is pretty cool, right? The first page of the rule book is basically your clan leader talking about how we have this new opportunity to gain prestige, and if the new ruler doesn't go along with it, we'll just murder him. So, and actually, one of the in-game conditions, the hardest mission you can draw is to murder the ruler, right?
Okay.
So if you can pull off all of the things necessary to complete that mission, then it's worth a ton of points, and it triggers the end of the game. Really good game. I think our group's really going to enjoy it.
I'd heard that this one was a lot like Lords of Waterdeep, and 4 players is about good for that one.
I think so too. Yeah.
Well, what's really neat is it has this one extra little dynamic in it that Lords of Waterdeep doesn't have, and it's this little, constable that kind of patrols the city. So you have to really watch out for him because if you need to gain this item or go get this or finish a mission over at the temple and he's in your district, you get arrested. So you have to kind of watch out for the cops while you're doing it too. So it was just a lot of fun. I really liked it, and the board was beautiful. Absolutely stunning board.
Well, it's gonna. I mean, it sounds like fun, but yeah, it's gonna have to rise pretty high to top Lords of Waterdeep. So.
It does.
My game of the month this month is Cold Water Crown, and we tend to start these off by saying that this one came from the shelf of shame, but this one came from the postman's hand onto the table, so it never really made it onto the shelf. But a kid growing up in the South, one of our leisure activities was to go fishing. Yeah. So they made a board game about that, and I thought, well, that won't work, but I'm a sucker for themes, so I have to pick it up, and it did. You're catching fish in the lake, on the shore, in the river. And the size of it doesn't matter until you get to the end of the game. You're trying to catch different combinations of them, be the first to get 8 different species, and all of these things give you achievements, which are victory points. And then at the end of the game, you have one last phase where you compare the weight of your catch at each location. And then that'll determine how you place in that competition and give you more victory points. Overall, a really cool system. You pull crystals out of a bag, and that's your bait. And when you go to a region, you cast your bait. And when you empty it up, you'll catch a fish. Neat implementation, and a lot of fun for our group. Cold Water Crown.
So who makes this? Do you remember?
I think it's somebody new, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
It's right there.
It is. I can't read that.
I can't read that.
Okay. If you happen to be watching, I love your game. It is so fun. And, the theme that you've put on it is very elegant and nice. The art is beautiful. Just everything about it works for me. Now I'm going to tell you how to make a gazillion dollars.
Oh, dear.
Change the theme just a little bit to make it southern fishing like the Bassmasters Classic. Make it bass and catfish, perch, crappie, which I think you already had perch in there, Add some crappie, maybe throw some gar in it. Some of the dirtier fishes,
Catfish.
okay. Dirty it
Mudcat.
up just a
Mudcat.
little bit. Bring it back down here to the south and put it in Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop, and you are going to sell 7 billion copies of this thing. I promise you, because this thing has redneck written all over it.
Yeah.
It is a Bassmasters tournament on a board game, and that's how I felt when I was playing it. But I felt kind of hoity-toity because, you know, we're in the shore and we're in the river, and I felt like sort of maybe
very country club.
New England fishing, like country club. There was a country club feel to it. Which, let me tell you, I'll embarrass myself in a country club. Okay, I'm country without the club. I'm telling you, bring that, make a second run of it, dirty it up a little bit, get it to the south. You're gonna sell a lot of copies. But you made a great game, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah. And you and this little adventure finding it, of course, beneath you down here, you'll see who put this game out. But I think it is a home run.
Yeah.
Good game. I love it.
So that is our games of the month.
So for April, we actually had a pretty good month for our Shelf of Shame. We played 14 different games, and we only added 4, so that allowed us to make 10 games worth of progress this month. Through April, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm doing my
Celebrating. Through April, we've played 53 unique games off our Shelf of Shame, and there are 100 games exactly remaining on the shelf as of this moment now. Chip, did you have a game this month that you wanted to spotlight?
Yes. So they talked about the Wheaton effect, and this is one that I think was brought to us because of the Wheaton effect. We played Sheriff of Nottingham, and I had gotten interested in this after watching one of those tabletop videos that they did. And Will Wheaton and all his friends are mostly all television and movie stars and that kind of people that are in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And so, obviously they were cutting it up and making it interesting. But then I thought to myself, my group of friends are, just as silly as those people are. So I think we were really going to have fun with it. So I brought it to the table. And I think we did. I mean, we couldn't have been any sillier without alcohol. It was just, we really got into the characters and we started making our wheeling and dealings, and we took on these affects and these accents, and it was just a great night. I talk a lot about shared experiences. This is definitely one of those, and the game is so easy that there's no learning curve whatsoever to it. So we were able to jump right into it, and I thought we had a great time. So I did, at least.
The most thrilling part of that whole experience for me was we were playing with Brandon. He's the one who does our blog, and normally he's very strategic and straight and all that, and he, oh my gosh, he just was a completely different person. He was fully into character, and he was having a blast, and I've never seen him actually cut loose like that before, and that was what made it even better for me.
Yeah, you know what? When I bought this, I had a desire for the experience that it could provide, based on what I knew of it, and I had seen Wheaton's tabletop on that as well, and it felt to me like a couple of people in that might not necessarily have got what was going on at certain times, but our group has kind of a niche. We want to take something crunchy and put it on the table and get a ton of victory points, or throw miniatures out there and just kill everybody or whatnot, and I had a lot of hesitation on how this one would go over, and I kind of felt like it would be, a lead balloon, and I was wrong. It over-delivered any expectation I could have had. I feel like maybe we tapped into all the role-playing we've done in our life, and we just decided, it's a fun, silly game. Who cares who wins? We're going to have fun with it, and that's exactly what happened. If you're looking for, and I don't even know if it's classified as a party game, but it turned our game night into a party. Yeah. So if that's an experience you think your group might be able to get into, I would strongly suggest Sheriff of Nottingham.
That's what I was going to say. It did feel like a party game, and that's fine. We had a great time with it. it's going to be dependent on your group.
It is. It is.
If
it actually gave me new hope in ours.
Yeah,
right? Right.
And
we can lighten up a little bit sometimes.
Sure. If your group is not really into cutting up and being silly, and role playing to that matter. I mean, I think that's really kind of what's required. It's probably not going to be that great of a game for you, but if you've got just a group that can not take a game super serious and really have fun with it, then it's going to be a hoot.
Yep. So I'm gonna hit the other side of that spectrum. I've got our disappointment this month, and I think it was just mine really, and that's Cold War CIA versus KGB, and this is a few years old, and there's a Star Wars themed version of it out there too. I think my disappointment stems from a misguided expectation for what it's going to be. I thought it was going to be somewhere in the, and not the heaviness, don't confuse that, but somewhere in the Twilight Struggle, 13 Days kind of feel because of the subject matter. And it's not. You're playing blackjack, and that was really a disappointment. You have these various regions or media interests or whatever that come up, and you're going to draw and play cards that have a number on them, and you're limited in the number of cards you can play and the maximum value of your cards combined, and each card has a little bit of a special power. But it took us an hour or so, and that game should have taken 15 minutes if that's what you're going to give me. I like blackjack, but not in this theme or it's just not what I was expecting there. So I was pretty disappointed with that one. And there are 4 different kinds of cards you can get, and they all have different powers, but every blue card has the same power and every green card has the same power. So while there were things you could do, they were limited. Maybe if every card had a somewhat different power, it would have spiced it up a little for me, but not enough of what I was looking for with this theme here for me.
This is the same game as the Star Wars. Is that Empire versus Rebels?
Yeah,
a little small box.
Yeah, it's a small box.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's the same game.
From what I understand, yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that was my disappointment for the month, and that was our Shelf of Shame update for April 2017.
So in our discussion topic today, we wanted to talk about an idea called FOMO, or fear of missing out. I came across this listening to the radio where a lady was talking about that she had won a tropical vacation, and just once in a lifetime trip. And while she was on this vacation, she's literally in a tropical paradise that she may never have the opportunity to do again. Her friends are posting on social media just an average run-of-the-mill weekend night out that they've had, a countless number of times, and she can have countless number of times once she gets back. But the fact that she was not there for that moment that they were sharing created an anxiety in her, and she literally toned out everything around her and where she was and the situation she was in, because she feared that she was missing out this night, back home. And so I got to thinking about that in terms of gaming. Does the fear of missing out affect us? And I think for me, it really does when it comes to the new games coming out in Kickstarter and or ones that I see, somebody doing a YouTube video or a podcast talking about some new game that I don't have, or some old game that I don't have even, and I get this anxiety in me that, man, I'm missing something. I got to go get this game. Right. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, look at our Shelf of Shame. There's plenty of games on there to where, we were just browsing through Kickstarter and then be like, ooh, exclusives, ooh this, ooh that, So I think just the number of games that we've backed over the years and are still, backing to this day, that kind of a testament to we're kind of that same way too. The culture that we have nowadays, is more of I want it yesterday. There's no patience waiting or planning. It's what's the fastest way I can get something. So so I think that all kind of ties together in gaming in general.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely afflicted, and it definitely drives my acquisition disorder, because I'll see something that looks remotely intriguing on Kickstarter, and any other day I might pass, and then I notice, ooh, there's exclusive metal coins. Got to have it. So there we go.
You are a sucker for the metal coins.
I am a sucker for the metal coins. I like upgraded bits. We had, we did the same thing. We've missed out on Kickstarters for one reason or another, and overpaid to get the things later, right? And I think that falls into that category because it's the same thing, right? This is exclusive. I'm not going to be able to get it. Scythe. I even had it with the first set for Star Wars Destiny. It came out and was gone, right? Which I didn't expect at all. And I think that's a statement about us as gamers, and I'm talking about all of you out there in our gaming community who said, we don't want a collectible game, and then bought everything when it came out, right? So, I overpaid for stuff on eBay, not as bad as some folks did, but, more than it would have cost me at my friendly local gaming store to get some of it because I didn't know that there was going to be more. That was really up in the air at the time. So, yeah, I definitely think I'm afflicted by a fear of missing out on something. Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword too, right? Because I'm not saying that some of these games that we've acquired through this idea were bad games. I mean, I've enjoyed some of those. Scythe. I love Scythe, and but yeah, it's that anxiety of missing. Or of I'm missing out that has kind of driven me. And for me, The Colonist was a big one. I think my fear of missing out sort of it made me not do as much research as I would normally have done before I went out and grabbed an $80 game.
Right.
And I ended up not liking it, And so, that's one that kind of bit me. But, again, we go back to Scythe. Though we did have to overpay for it, it was a great game, and we've had a lot of fun with it. So, what about also, situationally, fear of missing out when it comes to like gaming night? And for me, we're fortunate where our gaming nights, we can all pretty much get together. But like our Shelf of Shame, man, there have been a few games where you and Joe have the luxury of living in the same house, so y'all will play a game, and I'll see you update the Shelf of Shame and go, oh man, I really wanted to play that one, but I know, man, Chip, we got 100 games on this list, and we're trying sort of, I don't know if we've ever stated it officially, but we're kind of trying to clear this thing in a calendar year, right? So, it would help if we quit adding to it, but. Why would we do that?
How many do we got on the way?
Yeah, right.
There's some.
So, I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I want to play that again. I know we've already played it, but there are some that I do want to play again that I saw you guys play, and I want to check it out. So I kind of get that feeling too when I watch you guys update the Shelf of Shame, or when I'm listening to podcasts or watching videos and stuff, man, it really starts affecting me.
Well, I had the same thing. You and Kaylee, his daughter, played Fields of Green. And I still want to play that game. So yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from there, and we'll get together when we can lately because things have been a little crazy. And somebody will say, hey, let's play this. Insert old favorite, right? And I'm anxious because I'm like, if we spend the time to play this, we're not eliminating some of the Shelf of Shame. So I don't know if that ties right into fear of missing out, but I get that same kind of anxious feeling, because we've set this goal for ourselves.
Another thing that kind of triggers that anxiety, I think, is in relation to Kickstarter, because there's some games on there that they're trying to get funded. But it says it's not going to retail. It's never going to be in a store. So if I don't get it right now, then I'm going to completely miss out on this game altogether.
Yeah. Right? If it states that, I don't back it but I feel like the purpose of Kickstarter is for you to get it in wide distribution. But but they don't all state that that's their purpose, you know, and I understand it's due to financial reasons, but a lot of even publishers who don't use Kickstarter, the print runs are limited by the funds that they can put into making games at that time, and if it sells well enough, it'll get another print run. Some games don't sell well enough to get that other print run, so that leaves, you know, it leaves you out there saying, man, you know, that game looked cool to me. Maybe it didn't sell well enough to justify another print run, but now getting your hands on it, it becomes difficult, and you know, again, you get that anxiety, right? Because I wanted that game, you know.
That Seventh Continent game had me like that. Recently, I've heard rumor that they're looking for ways to put it into retail production. But there for a minute, man, I was having strong anxiety and really thinking about, well, let me just go ahead and go overpay for it because I really wanted the game. Yeah. But I think I'm going to resist it. I'm going to hold out and see if it gets into retail.
Well, you know, you called me a few months ago because, you know, Gloomhaven sold out. And we have a store local to us that was attempting to, and this is why I'm not going to go to the store anymore, attempting to sell their Kickstarter version for triple the suggested retail price, you know, and, you know, he called and we were discussing, you know, do we want to split this up? And we ultimately, fortunately, decided, you know, that's just ridiculous. It's just price gouging, you know. If it's good enough, it'll come back. You know, we invoked a little Vassal's Law there in our logic, and they did do another Kickstarter for another printing of it there. But you know, we were having that conversation. Do we pay this crazy amount of money for this game? And we don't even know if it's good. People are raving about it, but you know, there are popular games I don't like, and there are not popular games I do. So you know, it's hard to gauge what you might like against somebody else's buzz for it. But you know, it almost got us there too.
Yeah. Well, the fear of missing out. So if you've experienced it, drop us a line in the comments. Let's talk about it. Tell us your experiences. Tell us the hidden gems that you found because of it, or the you know, glaring disappointments. Let us know. Also, we wanted to give a little update. We've had 2 winners to our Bad Board Game Description Challenge. Now, for those of you just tuning in, this is not a description of a bad board game. It's a bad description of a board game. And I wanted to congratulate a couple of our previous month's winners. So Buster Atlas, he won March with the correct answer of Robinson Crusoe. And so if you would like to hear that description, just go down and you can find our other links to our other videos. And then Michael Cathro, he won February, and the answer there was Star Wars Rebellion. So congratulations to those 2 guys. They've earned 100 Geek Gold, and I believe I've already sent it to them. So here's your April. Is that where we are? We're in April. This is your April Bad Board Game Description Challenge. And again, if you know the answer, just put it in the comments. The first person to make the comment with the correct answer will receive if you have a Board Game Geek account, I'll get in touch with you, get your username, and then I'll send over 100 Geek Gold your way. So this month for April, try as you may to better yourself by simply pillaging villages while your so-called countrymen come from all around to get in your way. Who cares that the world is literally falling to pieces? They can just walk across that rainbow bridge to heaven. So if you know the answer to that, just drop it in the comments, and if you're the first one, we'll get in touch with you for 100 Geek Gold. And that's the Bad Board Game Description Challenge for April.
Very nice. Thank you for joining us for another Roll to Hit Gaming Monthly for April 2017. Through the magic of editing, you'll see along the bottom of your screen here the link to our daily WordPress blog. Brandon's putting out some great content over there, so please check that out. For Roll to Hit Gaming, I'm Lucas.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Chip.
We'll see you next month.